Hey everybody, how you doing? Christopher Chaplin here. Don't forget to check me out. Like my Facebook site, Orgone Art by CAC. Today I'm making some Anionizer energy wands, some water Anionizers, Orgone for your water tanks, and I'm gonna let you in on the process. All right, so I'll be back in a second. Hey everybody, I'm back. Christopher Chaplin here, and so. Before I got too carried away in making these Anionizer water energy Orgone wands, I said to myself, great opportunity to make a little video and let you guys in on the process. So basically what we have here is a compass. We have some caps with the magnet, earth magnet inside of it. We have the copper tubes, what's going to go inside the water. And here we have some crystals. You got your rose, you got your amethyst, we got your red aventurine, your green aventurines, your white aventurines, blue aventurines, your yellow jasper, your black aventurine, your garnet, some citrine, we got some double terminated quartz points, and we have some more beautiful looking quartz stones. I'll probably break the video up, and I just drew a blank. I don't really know the technical name for this, but if you notice, if you look inside of it, it's got some mineral flares happening. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you can pick that up. There you go. You might be able to pick that up. But anyways, good energy. And then we have some silica sand. So if you know the art of glass blowing, this is some quartz crystal, crushed quartz, and we have some nickel, black shot they call it, basically nickel, and it's iron, but you can see it's magnetic. So part of my big problem when I was trying to design something to help energize this water was basically the math wasn't worth making the product, meaning that, you know, putting Orgone inside the water is great. It attracts and accumulates the protons, but it also will spit it back out inside the water. So even though the water was also going to get ionized and, you know, there'd be more benefit to it, I just really couldn't wrap my head around, you know, taking that risk of possibly doing some damage in the name of doing good. And also using magnets, it's very, very difficult because yes, it has a negative side which you want to touch the surface of the water, but it also has a positive side which you don't want to be touching the surface of the water, because the positive side grows the bacteria, where the negative side reduces any growth of bacteria, and it's more life-giving energies. And also when you're putting raw materials like metals inside, you know, water, even though it's going to be behind a copper tube that's going to be sealed inside a resin, still, like, the energy itself, you know, rusts, right, in water, moisture. So it took me a little bit, but I solved the problem, and I solved the problem by using just crystals. Okay, it's basically all I'm using. And even though this is also a stone, you know, it's got some iron in it. So basically, you know, it's not like raw metal that's being refined into metal that once it's exposed it's going to rot. I could sit this in water and it's not going to change color, it's not going to rust, it's not going to turn the water, you know, a red color, because it's not refined to that process yet. So I can still create that energy that I want, the orgone, more purely anionizers, but with the magnets now being on a negative side on each side, and also these terminated crystals are also negative charge, meaning they're giving off ions. You know, they're giving off life-giving energy. And on the sides of these crystals, I'll pull my pendulum out so I can help show and illustrate what I'm talking about. And on the sides of these crystals is where the doo-doo, the poo, the bad energy will come out. And then when I say bad, meaning not just the opposite charge. Okay, so these are double terminated, so on either end you're going to have a negative charge. So basically what I plan to do is I have the negative charge facing the water. Copper is not magnetic. This is going to be a positive charge, obviously, on this side because it's on the opposite of the negative side. But I'm also going to be placing this crystal point in it, so it's going to also have a negative charge, so it's going to neutralize that. And also any type of growth is going to grow good because there's no bad in there. Okay, and any bad that's being generated from the positive side itself is not going to be taken into account because there's going to be too much good stuff inside there. So that's basically how I was able to justify the whole development of this device that I'm trying to create here. And so to help illustrate what I'm talking about and why I need the compass is basically I am trying to ensure that the magnet is set on the negative side, on the side that you'd want exposed to any matter that you want to heal. So if you're using magnetic therapy, you want the side that's attracted to the North Pole, right? So we're going to set it, and it's going to fix itself north. Okay, so everybody sees this. And I'm probably going to insert a photo in this video. I took some separate photos of this process too, but then I just realized, you know what, it's going to take too many pictures, so I might as well just run a video. So basically, just to show everybody that this magnet is on the proper side, you're going to watch the needle move around. So this is basically the North Pole now, okay, right here. This is basically healing center. And so this is following it, okay? So anybody who's making Orgone, you must measure your devices in every step because it's math and it's science. And sometimes when we mumble jumble things, we're really trying to help people, but we're either going to defeat the purpose or even harm people. I've been at. Hey everybody, I'm back. I went and picked up my pendulum just to basically help show other measuring devices that are a must for anybody that is making energy art, energy devices that are intended to help people. This is how you can measure the electromagnetic current, which way it's flowing, and it has many other metaphysical uses as well. You can see it flowing now because, yeah, you think that's positive energy. Is it saying it's a lot of positive energy here? You'd think so because it's going clockwise, but the reason why it's spinning clockwise is because the magnets itself are on the positive side. So right now it's set to pick up electromagnetic frequency. Now I could set it to pick up conscious frequency. So before I go into a tangent about something totally different but has something a lot to do with why we want Orgone, I will just demonstrate something to you. So I'm going to tell it to stop. So it's going to stop. You can see it slowing down, but it's going to be very, very hard because of the magnetic pull that it's getting. But I'm going to show you how dominant consciousness is, okay? And why you need Orgone to shield your mind from negative demonic energies, okay? Now, I'm going to make this thing, I'm going to show you how even your thoughts have a sound and have a frequency, okay, that these devices pick up. So which way is no? Hey everybody, Christopher Chaplin. I'm back with my pendulum. Okay, so I think I was leaving off saying that everybody who's making Orgone, any type of energy art, it's very, very important to have measuring devices so that you can measure the frequency of the matter that you're putting and selecting for your ornaments and devices, and ensure that they are flowing properly. We're all doing this mostly to do good, but unfortunately a lot of bad things can happen when you're not experienced and you don't really understand what you're doing. And it's not just about putting devices that look good, it's about putting devices that work. And anybody on my Facebook page, you know, to respect to the people that have my ornaments and have gotten my ornaments, I'm telling you, people are getting their confidence back, getting their mojo back, going out getting jobs, coming off their medications, quitting smoking for a year, going to the gym for a year. People that have it's just helping, okay? It's serious stuff, and it's just a matter of protecting yourself. You have to look at yourself as your DNA, as software, okay? It runs your body. Your body's a hard drive, and you have energies that are sitting at the desk controlling you. You're not in control of yourself. So basically, when you have a good virus protection, you're just ensuring that your program is going to run properly. It's going to be able to heal you when it needs to heal you. It's going to prevent disabilities, disorders, and diseases from happening. It's going to make your decision making a lot better. Basically, just going to serve good. Okay? And when you're vibrating low, that's when you have an opportunity to have somebody at your operating desk making you do not so good things, making decisions not bad, and certain viruses that are going to give your DNA program glitches so that when you do come across problems, you can't solve them. You know, your DNA is being sauteed by the EMF radiation that's out there. So Orgone energy anionizers, that I call them and develop and have coined a term for, are essential for your personal protection. So as you can see, this pendulum is going crazy. It's going clockwise. You're probably saying, yep, lots of good energy in front of me. Well, it's true, but it's not going clockwise for that reason. It's going clockwise only because it's above magnets that are on the positive side. So it's picking up the magnetic frequency. But I may have mentioned this in a other segment that I am going to attach to this video, but the voice, your consciousness, is the most powerful frequency that there is, okay? And so that's basically why you have all sorts of energies wanting to control your voice, because what walks in spirit world walks in spirit world. Flesh walks on flesh. So our spirits are basically, you know, our bodies are vehicles. You know, our spirits create things. You know, how many times you want to do something socially, you do anything between drink, you know, you go through your rituals. These are all to basically harmonize yourself with a spirit that's going to allow you to do what you want to do. And, you know, that's how you need to see your life. When they say you are what you eat, you know, the power of now, all of these things are fantastic, but they don't really make sense if you don't understand what they really mean. So you just have to realize that the whole entire universe, everything is energy. Everything has a specific frequency, a sound attached to it. And if you don't know how to play, if you don't know the laws of the universe, you're not going to be able to play your own instrument. You're not going to be able to participate in the game. You're just going to basically be a pawn moved around. You know, other energies will. Meanwhile, you're going to think that everything is of your own decision, which it is, but it's not. So back to this device, I'm going to show you the sound of consciousness and the power of it. I'm going to tell this pendulum to stop, and my voice is going to be more dominant over the magnetic frequency that it's hovering above. So pendulum, stop. Okay. I want you to go counterclockwise against the magnetic field. So there you go. I'm going to put it right over these magnets, and it's still going to go counterclockwise because I'm going to tell it to go counterclockwise. I've just programmed it. It's my voice, my consciousness. Okay? So when I want to use it for weighing energy, one thing I always do is I always clear the pendulum. I always shield it from any energies coming into my questioning and just basically making the pendulum go an untruth way, not giving me a proper reading. And how I do this is I ask Yeshua to make sure and ensure that the readings are correct and no evil, negative spirits come and intervene in my readings. The reason why I use Yeshua, because he's the highest power. And if you study demonology or anything, it's absolutely true. So therefore, I use Yeshua to ensure that absolute truth is over my readings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pendulum now to show the negative charge that's going to be exposed to each end of the wand, which is going to be distributing the energy. Okay, so I just cleared my pendulum. I'm not going to tell it what to do. I'm just going to put it over the copper, and you're going to see which way it's going to spin. So clockwise means that it's on the positive side. Counterclockwise means it's on the negative side. And the negative side is what heals. It reduces things. It gives life. The positive side grows things. So if you have bacteria, it's going to grow the bacterium into more cells that are going to kill the healthy cells. Okay, so you're basically seeing that the pendulum is going counterclockwise. So it's showing you that it has a negative charge. So I'm going to flip it over again just to show you that it has a positive charge. Okay, so you can see it starting the vortex clockwise. Okay, so that's very, very important. So another way to measure your devices is it's the law of magnetics. Opposites attract. Like poles repel each other. They won't attract. So just to make sure, sometimes when you make the devices and you put them in a close quarters like this, the magnets jump around and you might not notice it. They jump around because they want to attach themselves to the opposite charge. So what I've done, you might not be able to see because it's clear, but you should be able to see, is that I've put resin, so they're encased in resin already. So they're not going to move around. Okay, so they're set. So how I make sure is I just do this, I push it together, and you see it flips around. Now I'm going to try to keep it from flipping around. It's very, very difficult because I'm just one-handed right now, but you can see, well, it's just very difficult to do that, but it's very clear that this is the positive side. So it's a perfect example. See? It won't stick. To be able to move it around, but it will stick now. See? I'll just do a quick check for all of them. See? So make sure. See? It's able to move it around. So you can tell that's good. The last one. Okay, so I believe I showed you the compass. Basically, you want to set this, make sure that it's on the North Pole. The needle should go north, as you can see. So it's set north, and then you use your magnet, and if you can move that needle around, then you know that it's on the correct charge. So this is the end that you want to heal yourself. You always want to get a compass and or a pendulum, and you just flip the magnet, and that's the side of the magnet that you use on your wound. So if you're trying to heal anything from cancer to a scratch and you have a magnet, you take the negative side and you put it there, and what that does is it promotes, it ionizes the area, it promotes electrons. Okay, that's the charge, a healthy charge for your body. Protons are necessary too because they distinguish all the bad healthy cells. So the weak cells, they'll be consumed. But if you have too many protons, then they just dominate and they take over, and that's when you get your sickness. So it's very, very important. Again, if you're producing orgone, it's going to you're creating a piezoelectric energy. So you're creating a magnet that is not a magnet in the form of it's going to pick things up, but it's magnetic energy. Okay, this is the science. Okay, so we have our terminated crystals. This is a perfect example. I'm going to set one in here. Remember, so this is basically positive, right? So essentially the pendulum should be going clockwise, but I'm just going to demonstrate that these tips have are negative. Okay, so again, you can't pick anything up. Watch, this is metal, it's not sticking, right? There's nothing sticking, but it's still like negative energy, meaning that it's magnetic frequency. Its frequency is negative. It's life-giving. We always have this term, you're positive thinking. So we psychologically we look at that as being positive, good, and when we say you're being negative, it means we're being bad, which is good psychologically, but in frequency language it's the opposite. Okay, so I'm not saying go around and say, hey man, you're being negative. I mean, yeah, if you want to talk scientific talk, magnetic talk, then maybe you can get away with that, but even language, I'll be doing videos about this. Your sound, everything, your consciousness of frequency. So you start understanding the math of language, and you start putting things together, and that's how you get results. So it's not just the power of now and it's what you say. It's you actually have to know how to play that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to teach you. And that's what I'm giving you with my ornaments, because I'm giving you this energy. They're blessed with this energy. So when you get it, that's how you're going to start thinking. So I'm going to place this terminated point, pick up my pendulum, and remember, it's supposed to go clockwise, but I'm just going to leave it free. Yahshua, please protect it, let it be free. True readings, and you're going to see which way it's going to go. It's going to go the way that the crystal point is radiating, and when I'm feeling this on my hand, it's a much different energy than the magnetic energy. I could actually feel this like my chi. When it's spinning around with the magnet, it spins around, but I don't feel it. This is like totally picks it up. And you could see how fast it went from, and it'll just go and go and go. So just imagine, that's only one element going in the wand. So by the time I put everything in here and it's compressed by the resins, this is going to be like pushing the button, and the piezoelectric energy is just going to be radiating, buzzing, making that water ionized. When it hits those roots and the things that are growing, it's just going to be really, really healthy for them. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so what I want to do now in making these Anionizer energy wands is I was thinking of firstly soldering the outside, making sure that they're sealed, And then I said to myself, you know what? That's going to heat up this resin, and then it's possibly can melt. And then what that could possibly do is shake that magnet loose. And I don't want that to happen. So I decided to assemble it first. And then once the whole entire body of the tube is filled with the crystals and you know, the rocks and the resin, it's going to be one solid. So the heating point is going to increase, you know, so it's not going to melt as fast as it would melt if it's just a small little amount like this. It's going to be a lot harder to melt the whole entire mass, you know, heat up those stones. So by the time the outer surface heats enough for the, you know, the nickel, you know, to seal the outside, then, you know, it'll be good. And there's still a chance that I might even leave it, like when it's all assembled, if it seems like it's solid, because the resin will hold everything together. There's a slight chance, but there's a better chance that I'll seal it, just to make sure no water gets inside, and, you know, just keep that in so the resin doesn't dissolve, because it will dissolve in water over time. Okay, so I'm going to say ciao for now. I'm going to get myself ready. There's the box. Or you know what? Maybe I'll stay with you guys. Okay, so what I've done with this little box is I've created something that I can stand these things up in, so that I can pour my resin and my stones in. So I suggest when you're making your Orgone energy wands that you do that too. So you select your crystals, get everything in front of you, as organized as possible. Find the negative side, set those, they're set. Oh, one thing I'm going to show you. Remember I said that on this side, the flat side, is where the positive charge comes out, because everything has, you know, all matter has two sides, right? Negative, positive, light and dark. Okay, so it's on its side. Yashua, clear it, and you're going to see which side it's going to turn. So remember, that's a crystal now. Okay. Now, that's not totally fair, because when you put a pendulum over something and you don't ask it anything, it's going to just give you the reading of the energy, right? So if it's going clockwise, you have to assume that it's good energy, unless it's over something that's magnetized, and you know that it's magnetized, you know, which all things are magnetized to a certain degree, but, you know, a magnet's going to give off a definite energy that's going to control that pendulum, no matter what you ask it, unless you ask it something like I did. You know, it's going to just go with the magnetic flow. So I'm going to put this back inside here, stand it up, just going to put it on top, it's going to go the other way. No, it's not going the other way because it's bad energy. It's just going to go that other way because that's the charge that it's giving off. Okay? And you also have to remember there's a positive underneath there. So if I put that over this, by virtue of magnetic energy, it should be going clockwise, which it is. Okay? So it's a slight difference. So by the time I put this, it neutralizes it, and it, because this is more powerful than that, it's going to give off the charge of the tip. But as I put it on the side, okay everybody, I'm back. Christopher A. Chaplin here. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Orgone Art by CAC, or Art by CAC. Come visit me on my website. I hope it's up by the time you watch this video. artbycac.com. If not, you'll go right to my Etsy site where you can access all my products and books on autism. Lots of poems. Brown box. We're using this to keep our Orgone energy wands in place while we assemble them. So, just in case you missed it, we have our little caps. They're preset with the magnets on the negative side facing the outer part of the cap. I've placed resin inside of them to keep them from flipping or moving. And so what I have done is I've taken this pipe and placed it inside this cap. And inside here you might be able to see, well, you can't, but there's a crystal point inside there. So I'm going to put this one right here. I am going to get a new point. I'm going to place it inside the cap. I am going to get pipe, give it a few little taps, and I'm going to place it inside there. So again, I do this because past experiences, if you try to hold this with your hand, you're just going to make a mess, and it's not going to make you too happy when you have to spend most of your time scraping resin off of your pipe and cleaning it up. And talk about mess, while we're at it, we may as well protect our piece. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, but basically I'm going to take this tape, I'm going to wrap it around the outside of the wand, and that way as I'm handling it, if in case there was any spillage or mess, it's going to keep the copper piece clean so I don't have to scrape it. Okay, so I'll be back. Hi everybody. Okay, so we have our pipes protected, taped up. Bottom caps are in. Crystal tips are in. We're going to begin to assemble this thing. But what I want to do before I do that is I want to pour a little bit of resin that I already have set in this cup inside these tubes, maybe about an inch, just to cover most of the tip. I'm going to let it harden a little bit, and then I'm going to put the rest of the crystals inside. Now the only reason why I want to do that is because I want to make sure that there's enough space in between the magnet and the crystal that are compressed, creating their energy before I add any other substances to it. Basically, if I put a little tiny crystal in there, or if I put the nickel down there, it might create more of a positive charge and set the balance that I'm trying to create off. I know that the positive side of the magnet is on the inside, and it will give whatever it's touching a positive charge, which is not beneficial. But in this case, because there's not going to be any bacteria inside of it, it's not going to have bacteria to grow. So essentially, if it's going to grow anything, it's just going to grow the energies that are there. And but just to make sure, I want to put some resin to make absolute positive that no metals, metallic crystals will be in that vicinity to help create a larger positive charge. Okay? So I'm going to grab a little bit of my resin, and I think I'm going to get another cup because I'm not going to need that much resin. And if I put my hardener in that, what's going to happen is all of that resin is going to have to be used within a short amount of time. And because I don't have resin to waste, I'm not going to. So excuse me. Alright, so I figured out how to set my camera up so I can give you guys a little demonstration on how to wrap this thing. As if you need it, but just in case. So I'm taking the tape and I'm just giving it a little tiny wrap. Just like that. So I wrap it all the way up top because we're going to be pouring it in, and then obviously I'm going to remove the tape when I put the cap on and remove it all when it's totally dry and ready. And obviously before I solder it, I will remove the tape because I don't want tape to go on fire and create more problems. I'll be back with more pipes. Good thing about making Orgone as well is while you're making it and working with the energy, it's really soothing. It's really great for your nerves, great for many things, especially when you're working with copper. It really helps you hold your charge. So if you're happy, it helps you stay happy. If you're angry, you're working with great energy, so you won't be angry for too long. You won't be feeding your neurons negative peptides because you'll be smiling and thinking about positive things, not frowning and giving into your beasts who wants negativity and fear and anxiety. This basically happened because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was talking. See, even something like taping a pipe requires a little bit of focus. Okay, so we got them all taped up. See you guys in a second. Alright, we're back. I'm going to pour a little bit of this resin. Inside there, maybe a little bit more. A little bit of the hardener, a couple of drops. I'm going to mix it up. Okay. Now, usually I have a funnel, but the funnel that I was using became clogged up with resin residue. I discarded it and never replaced it. There we go. So what I try to do is I try to balance the pipes so that the resin doesn't settle on an angle. And there you go, we can actually see the resin in that pipe. Now the pipes I cut to 8 inches, they might be a little shorter than that, but I try to use divine numbers, 8s. 7's good for the 7 spirits of Yahweh. 6s are good numbers, creation. It all matters. I'll be back in a moment. Hey everybody, we're back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the silica sand. Okay, this is crushed quartz used for glass blowing. So basically just making sort of like a paper funnel, something that I can control, pour, and I'm pouring the silica sand into the pipe. That's the first thing I'm going to pour because it's going to sit around the quartz. It's going to take up that space around the quartz. We want, see that? So I want that to settle in down to the base and around that quartz to help create more of a compression around it. And I know that the quartz is not metallic, it doesn't have any iron in it, any metallic metal. It will have traces of gold in it. People who know their gems, crystals and gold mix. But it won't have any metals that are metallic. So again, I'm taking this and I'm pouring it into the pipes. I'm giving it a little tap. Help it settle in there. Okay, there we go. All right. So the order of the crystals, for me, it mainly makes it very important for me to establish the metallic metal crystals, or the crystals that have traces of metals inside them, because that's going to be able to hold a charge in a different way than the crystals that don't. So if I'm using magnets with my artwork, if I want those magnets to, the charge to be greater, then I'm going to put metals around it, because the metals are going to take that same charge. If I don't want the magnet to have its charge spread out through the device, then I'm going to keep the crystals that contain traces of metals, coppers, iron, sorry, anything magnetic farthest away from it. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick little test to see which metals have iron in it, and it's extremely easy to do. You just basically take the magnet on the back, and if it touched the crystals, so we just touched the red aventurine, nope, rose quartz, nope, citrine, nope, amethyst, nope, garnet, nope, but the black tourmaline, or sorry, aventurine, has metals in it. So that's going to probably go somewhere in the center of the device, only because I have magnets on either side. I'm going to have terminated crystals on either side. I want to keep those negative. I want the whole device to be as negative as possibly can in its electrical charge. Electromagnetic charge is going to ionize the water, so I don't want to give the positive charge an opportunity to grow, because it's just going to defeat the purpose and have an opportunity to grow any bacteria whatsoever that grows in the water, if it can and will. But in this case, my friend Mike, the tanks are black, so sunlight's not going to go in there, so it's, chances of it growing anything are very little, and the water is going to be ionized. So that, our blue aventurine, no. White agates, no. Green, no. Yellow jasper, no. But this is basalt or lava rock, and it is metallic. You'll be able to see it. This is too heavy for it to pick up, but it will pick up the dust. You'll see it. So you see that? So that's also metallic. So that's going to be in the middle as center as well. And the good thing about why I like using basalt or lava is because lava is one of the only, if not the only, rock that's formed by fire. Okay, so it's got a lot of good energy. It's a pretty hot rock. And of course our nickel is going to be metallic. So we have 3 ingredients that are going to be centered for our core, and the rest we're going to assemble in and around. Oh, let's check out the actinolite. Actinolite. Funny name. This is pretty cool looking stone though. Okay, so the actinolite is not metallic, even though it has those flares in it that look like iron or gold. They're not metallic, and they're not able to be picked up by the magnet. Alright, so let's start off with let's put some rose quartz inside first. Hey everybody, I'm back. Christopher A. Chaplin, Art by CAC. We are putting in our rose quartz. And then we're going to put in our citrine. And I'm going to put in some garnet. And I'm going to put in some amethyst. Okay, and now I'm going to put in some of the lava. And then I'm going to put in some of this black shot nickel. Now I'm going to put in some of the black obsidian, or aventurine, or agate. Now I'm going to go back. I'll put in some of the actinolite. I'm going to put in some of the yellow jasper. I'm going to put in some of the blue aventurine. And some of the green aventurine. Jasper. Sorry, red agate. And some tips. Just see something here. Ah, great. Now I get to share a little problem solving with you guys. So obviously the problem that I'm encountering is that I've stuffed some of these pipes in a little inconsistency because the rocks have different shapes, and maybe in this case I've put too much sand in this one compared to the other ones, but we're running out of room for the last but final tip that needs to go on the other side. So in most cases it won't be a problem, but for this one it's going to be a huge problem. So what I'm going to have to do is find a crystal that can fit basically inside here that I can place on top of that. Okay, so let's see if we can find something here. So in the early part of this video, one of the segments, I showed you how the pendulum tests the charge. So you're seeing it going counterclockwise over the crystal. You're saying, oh, how could that be negative energy? Well, I told it in my mind that I want to know the charge. That's basically all I'm confirming is the charge. Okay, so it's giving off ions. Okay, it's negative energy in terms of magnetic energy, which is healthy for you. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over on the other side. Let's see what it says. So again, they're double terminated, so both sides are going to have the equal charge. I'm going to put it on its side, and then you'll see what charge it emits from its side. See, it's going clockwise now. Isn't that amazing? Get yourselves a pendulum. Instead of worrying about your calories, worry about your protons and electron intake. Hey, it worked. Okay, so I'm going to take that off because we have to pour resin in there. I just basically put that on to measure. Let me see if it will fit. And it did. Okay. So when I'm pouring it, you can't expect your device to take all the resin in one pour. It's got to settle in. It's got to pull itself to the bottom. It's got to push the air up. So you end up pouring this for quite some time until it settles, and you know that it's filled the cavity completely. You can see how it goes down. See that? See it drinking all that resin? You guys can see that I tried to tape up my little cup. Didn't want to give that alcoholic beverage company a little free promo, but I'm noticing as I'm pouring, the camera's shining right on the inside, but whatever. Maybe the company could throw me some dollars. What do you guys think? Alright, so you can see that the resin is basically settling right there. Okay, I'm going to cut this short right now, and I'll be back. Next up, we will take the tape off, put the caps on, and we'll get ready to solder this thing. Cheers. Orgone Art by CAC. Check my poetry, check my books, check my energy. It loves you. Okay everybody, I'm back. I have some resin on standby. Nice and hard, cured. And here's the finished product. Now I'm not going to use the propane tank and solder the ends because it's just, I realized that the resin is very flammable, and not only I want to guard against anything starting a fire in my hand, I don't want the resin to start to combust inside the pipe and create more problems. So I just realized that the resin, once it's sealed, it's cured, it will keep the water from going inside or anything from coming outside other than the energy, and I will just duct tape the ends just to make sure no water gets in. So I'm going to take some resin, I'm going to pour just a tiny bit inside the cap, just enough to create a seal. Then I'm going to take a pipe and I'm going to insert it into the cap, and I'm going to push down. Back. Let's give it a little bang. And there we go. So that may have been a little bit of a longer process, but that's what it is. And that's how we make, or at least how I make, my energy wands. So if you have a well or a water source that you want to make sure that protons, free radicals, bacteria, those dangerous energies are protected and shielded away from your water source, come check me out, or get the ingredients and make them yourselves. Thanks very much everybody, and look out for my next video. Cheers. Don't forget Orgone and Art by CAC on Facebook, or artbycac.com, masterpiecefactory.com if you want to support me for my books on autism, poetry, prose. Hey everybody, how you doing? Christopher A. Chaplin here. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page, Orgone and Art by CAC. Or Art by CAC will take you there too. Hey, I'm a real person. You can friend me, Christopher A. Chaplin, on Facebook. Alright, so I hope you guys can see this. I'm turning my phone to the opposite direction so I can't see what you see. But basically I'm just getting ready to bubble wrap my friend's order here. We have some beautiful pieces, some brand new items, and some items I've been making for a while. I'm going to turn this over.